Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Dylan Talk Sports. My name is Dylan. In today's video, what I wanted to do is I want to talk about NFL's top 100 list that gets put out every single year. It ranks players from 100 to 1, kind of based off of just how good every single player is for the 2024 season and whatever season is being talked about. Now, one thing I think is funny about this list is every single year it gets made, and every single year people have problems with it. They say, oh my god, this list is horrible. Oh my god, how is this player here? How is this player so low? This player so high? Why is this player ahead of this person? Why is this player number one? There's always some issues, and what I wanted to do in today's video is just pretty much go over the list. Don't talk about every single player, just kind of quickly summarize it, skim through it, talk about some points that I wanted to talk about. And then one of the big things that I think people completely forget to understand, this is not like reporters, analysts making the list. This is NFL players, the peers, the guys that are out there on the field competing against these players. They make the list, which is always funny in my eyes because it's like, they make the list. Why are we mad at them? But like I said, I kind of want to just go through the list. Like I said, not talk about every single player, just quickly summarize it, quickly skim through it, and just give my opinion on the whole thing. But without further ado, I'm going to stop rambling and I'm going to get straight into this. So if you're going to enjoy it, as always, make sure you're going to drop a like on today's video. Be very much appreciated if you do so. But without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, first up, starting off, as you can see here, I typed into Google just so you guys kind of understand what the hell I'm talking about. I typed in who makes the NFL's top 100 players list, and it says right here off of NFL.com, voted on by the peers themselves and the players themselves. As it says also over here, this is from a Steelers.com website, but it says for the 14th consecutive year, current players voted to determine the top 100 players in the NFL. Just in case any of you out there are like, oh my god, these lists are horrible, who votes these lists? They need to get better people to vote these lists. It's the players themselves. They play against these players, from the quarterbacks to the receivers, the running backs, line, D-line, safeties, kickers, punters, whoever may be. They play against them. They understand how good they are. They're putting them where they think they belong. But like I said, I'm not going to talk about every single player. I just kind of want to talk about a couple players that I think is a little bit bullshit on how maybe like how high or how low they're kind of ranked. Starting off, Terry McLaurin. How the fuck is he only 97? This dude is a freaking nature receiver. This year, he's going to have a really good season. I think with Jaden Daniels, he's going to bump up a lot higher. He could have been at least 70. Like, come on, 97? Really? This one's just kind of funny to me. I mean, Trevor Lawrence being at 94, and he just got paid $55 million, being the highest paid quarterback, tied with Joe Burrow. That's fucking hilarious. The fact that Aaron Rodgers got put at number 92, and I realize he's a great player. People are going to be like, how could you just leave him off the list? You have to look at it in perspective. He didn't play last year. He played 3 snaps. You tell me 3 snaps is worth getting him on the list at 92? I would have said, fine if you want to put him at 100. But 92? Like, you're basically saying those 3 snaps that he had was more of a value than Trevor Lawrence was. At least Trevor Lawrence played most of the season. Next up, another thing I have a problem with, Sam Laporta. I think he could have been a lot higher. I think even like up in the top 50. Sam Laporta was a dangerous tight end for the Lions last year. He could have easily been up there around 50. Moving down through here, I don't have really a problem with any of them except for Justin Herbert. I kind of have a problem with this one, like 75. That's a little harsh. I could have seen maybe at least up in the 40s, but like I understand for the players, he had a little bit of a down year last year, so I understand, I guess, why he's put so low. This right here is where I'm gonna have to start throwing out some fighting words. How the fuck is Deebo Samuel at 30, Brock Purdy at 28 ahead of Deebo Samuel, and then you're telling me Nick Bosa is only one player better than Brock Purdy? That's that. I feel like I might want to fucking laugh my ass off to that one. Like, going through this, you're telling me Nick Bosa, the player, is better than him. I understand Jalen Ramsey and Mike Evans maybe, but you're telling me Dexter Lawrence is better than Nick Bosa. I don't know. I don't know about that one. Moving on through, CJ Stroud, I like him at 20. That was a perfect spot. He was balling last year. Perfect spot for him. Justin Jefferson at 18. A little bit of a rough spot for him, even though he was injured most of the last season. This right here is kind of funny. Dak Prescott, he's at 16. Deserving spot. He had a really good season last year. The guy in front of him, Jalen Hurts, ahead of Dak Prescott. That's kind of funny. Moving on through the list, Josh Allen at 12. I understand it. I mean, he did have a really poor season last year, so 12, I guess, is the first spot for him. But let's get into the top 10. And I'm going to just give my opinion on yes or no, did this player deserve to be in the top 10? Max Crosby, that's hard to say, but I would say yes, based off of how he did last season. Like, he had some pretty freakish stats last year. He was on a mission. It's just, with the Raiders, they kind of hold him back, because like, if he had these stats on the Chiefs, he'd be a Hall of Famer already. But the fact that he's on the Raiders, it kind of holds him back. Moving on, Travis Kelce, 100% deserved to be a top 10. He probably could have been higher. Him at number 9 is a little bit shocking to me. I think the reasoning why is he did have a little bit of a down year last year. I don't know what was going on. Just down year. TJ Watt at number 8. This is where it's going to get funny, because I'm a Browns fan, and people were Twitter or X was funny yesterday. Don't get me wrong. TJ Watt, yes, top 10 player in the NFL. It's just funny of who's ahead of him. And we'll get to that individual in a second, but Trent Williams, again, top 10, 100%. Chris Jones, top 10, 100%. I think every player in here is in the top 10, deserves to be in the spot. The only one I would say is like questionable is Max Crosby, but I can let it be. But now we get to my glorious king, Myles Garrett, Defensive Player of the Year for the Cleveland Browns. He got top 5. A lot of people don't really like that one, but he was the Defensive Player of the Year. He won the award. He was pretty much the Browns' whole defense. How do you not put him at top 5? Like, when you go around to any defensive coordinator in the NFL and you always talk about like, who is a player that you have to game plan your whole offense around staying away from this individual, most of the time it's between, I would say, 3 guys: TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, and here lately it's become Micah Parsons. The fact that Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, and Micah Parsons, TJ Watt, and Myles Garrett are not all in the top 10 is a little bit shocking to me, because as we saw earlier, Micah Parsons, he was up around, I think, like 16, 17, right there behind Dak Prescott. But when you watch those 3 players, Micah Parsons get double teamed a lot. TJ Watt, he gets double teamed, just not as much. Myles Garrett, he's like every single play, most of the time he's double teamed. And when he's single team, it's because that ball is like, set hut, walk back, throw. It's instant. Snap, throw. Snap, throw. There is never a second that you're going to give Myles Garrett to be able to get around, bend around that edge, and get to your quarterback. Now moving on to number 4. Patrice Mahomes at number 4 is a little bit shocking. I see the talk, everybody's saying, how is he number 4? He should be number 1. Nobody should ever be able to go number 1 besides Mahomes, unless Mahomes just goes out there and has a horrible year. I saw one comment where it was like, unless Mahomes throws like only 20 touchdowns and like 30 interceptions, he doesn't go to the playoffs. That is the only way he shouldn't be number 1. I agree on that point. But he had a pretty good year last year. He won the Super Bowl, so like, how do you not put him number 1? So it kind of begs the question, who was ahead of him? Well, Christian McCaffrey, the all-around playmaker, that you got to debate there. Next up, you have the MVP. I understand he won the MVP last year, but Mahomes beat Lamar in the playoffs in the AFC Championship game. You can't put Lamar ahead of Mahomes when Mahomes beat him. And again, I get it. I understand the players are the ones, they're out there, they're playing them. They see better than we do. But Lamar got beat by Mahomes. It's like, you can't say he's better than him when he beat him. But then getting on to the number 1 player, we have Tyreek Hill winning the number 1 player of 2023 season, which I like him being there. Like I said, if Mahomes had a down year, Tyreek Hill is a dangerous player. He's probably always going to be Offensive Player of the Year as long as he's just running around, freakish speed. I mean, he almost had the touchdown, or not touchdown, the receiving yard record last year. Remember what I said about the defense, where it's like defensive coordinators and offensive coordinators. Offensive coordinators have to game plan around defensive player like Myles, TJ, and Micah. Defensive coordinators have to game plan around Tyreek Hill. Like, you better know where the fuck this guy is on the field. Like, when the defense comes out of the huddle, it's like, where the fuck is Cheetah? Okay, there's Cheetah. You and you. Come over here, stay on him. I would say this whenever it comes to like the top 5. Top 5, I like it. I like the people in there. I would say this. Change the order up just a little bit. Myles Garrett stays at number 5. I like that spot for him. Mahomes, number 1. He has to be number 1. I would put CMC, because of just how dangerous he is, he can stay at number 3. I would probably bring Lamar Jackson back to 4. And then, even like I said, even though he won the MVP, I'd bring him back to number 4. And you can't say, well, you can't do that because he won the MVP. He won the MVP and you put him number 2. Why didn't you put him number 1? So I would say Myles number 5. I would put Lamar at number 4. Keep CMC at 3. I put Tyreek Hill at 2 and put Mahomes at number 1. It just makes sense. It just makes the most sense for this list, because I know people are going to get pissed off. People do not like this list. But as I said, this is the players making the list. There's no press. There's no reporters. There's no media. This isn't coaches or owners making this list. This is the players. They make the list. So if you have a problem with it, go yell at the players. Like, for all we know, Patrick Mahomes might have put on his top 100 list and put Tyreek Hill number 1. Like, how are you going to argue with Mahomes saying, you should be number 1 when he put somebody else at number 1? I don't know if they can put themselves at number 1, but like I'm saying, I'm just saying, theoretically, what happens if he put somebody else at number 1? You going to argue with him on that? Now, real quick before I wrap it up, I want to let you guys know the whole website link to all the top 100 players is linked down in the description below. So if you want to go check it out for yourself, feel free. But when it comes to the top 100 list, my final points is this. It's always fun. It's always interesting to just kind of see what the players think about everybody, or all their peers, how they think everybody's kind of stacked up against each other. And I thought this list was pretty good. If I had to give a solid grade, B+, maybe A-. There's a few things in there. Like I said, I didn't go over the entire list. There's a few players in there you can maybe come up a little higher, maybe go down a little lower. You know, it's all preference. But like I said, good list. I'll give it a B+, maybe A-. But other than that, I think I'm going to wrap up there. Hopefully you guys did go and enjoy today's video. If you did enjoy it, as always, make sure you're going to drop a like on today's video. be very much appreciated if you do so. If you wanted to watch the entirety of today's video, thank you very much. And like I said, if you have a different opinion, do you agree or disagree with anything I said? Do you think that this list was good, bad? What do you think about the top 5, top 10? Do you think anybody should have been shuffled around? Should you think Mahomes should have been number 1? Do you think Tyreek Hill is the right spot, number 1? Whatever your opinion may be whenever it comes to the entire list, leave your complete opinion down in the comment section down below. Be more than welcome to talk about with you guys. If you're a fan of the content that I do poster and you want to go and hit that big red subscribe button, feel free to do so. And do not forget to hit that little notification bell to be notified so I can post. But without further ado, this has been Dylan Talk Sports. Have a great day. Peace.